Hey all, Tony Bing here. Hello and welcome to my Blade Born to Brut build guide for Marvel Heroes Omega for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Now, as the name suggests, this build is actually based all around the awesome range signature he has in one-shotting bosses. So what I'll do to showcase the build is I'll show off the skills and talents I would use. We'll check out the synergies, we'll look at the infinity point allocation, that's the first 100 points. We'll check out general gear and priority. And then at the end we'll do some gameplay with an operation, full bounty clear and take down a boss as well. But first up, let's have a look at the skills. For the skills here we have quite a different setup. We've got a mixture of melee and range skills. We're not actually using a spender, which I would always normally do. But the reason for that is this build is called what it is called because of the signature and the massive brute on it. Now if you look at what we would essentially be using as a spender, it's actually great to use to get out the way of any enemy one-shots. It's whiplash, so this works as a dot, it's 4 times per second. It's great for taking out trash. It leaves a grievous wound dot on the enemy as well, so you'll use this to get around. It doesn't consume any ammo, so by and large I just run around holding this move down. It will also weaken the enemy as well. Now in regards to our cooldown skills, we use many of these with charges because they will actually reduce the cooldown of the signature, and that's what the build's all about. The first one is Hyper Toxin Grenade, so this is great for taking out trash. It provides vulnerability from grievous wounds effects, and it's got a low 6-second cooldown, and it's actually got 2 charges, so I like to just fire this off to take out random trash, and if they're not defeated I run into them with Whiplash to finish them off. Then have Party Crasher. I'm using this because it provides vulnerability, so it means we make bosses vulnerable before we hit them with our signature for that huge amount of damage. And again, it's got a 6-second cooldown here. We then have Glaive Orbit, so 6-second cooldown once again. This comes straight after Party Crasher because you launch in and then you throw the orbit around you, and it works as another cooldown to reduce the signature, but it looks awesome, the combo of those 2 skills as well. Next up we then have an Execute, and we've got Stake Through the Heart. This particular one has 2 charges. It's easy to miss, so make sure you do lock on before using this. Now we then have, if we scroll over here, we've got the Serum. So we want to use this just before we use our signature for the huge starving damage buff. And on the subject of the signature, here we go, it's my namesake. Incredible move, as you all know already. So you've got the 10 hits, and then you've got the final stake, that's the guaranteed brute. And even with my pretty rubbish gear at the moment, it can do up to 266,000 damage. It really is incredible. So what we'll do now that the skills are covered anyways, we'll check out the talents. First talent we're using here is one that really allows us to push the damage to the absolute maximum on the signature. This is never sated, and this has a whole risk wardrobe mechanic. I'm not going to read out the whole tooltip because it is pretty long, but if you play Blade you'll know how this actually works. We then have Killer Glaive. Now I select this because it allows the glaive to turn into a cooldown skill, which means it will shorten the cooldown of the signature when we fire it off, and it does additional damage. We then have Psychoactive Pheromones, and I'm using this for the extra charges on Hyper Toxin Grenade, again to get the signature refreshing quicker. And on the subject of the signature refreshing quicker, this is the talent that does it. It's Patient Hunter. So your signature does 10% additional damage, and when you use a cooldown power you reduce the cooldown of your signature by 0.5 seconds, or it actually doubles it up to 1 second per cooldown skill while you're starving as well. So you can really get that signature up often. You can certainly get it up enough when you've got the 10 stacks of your Bloodlust to fire off. But the final talent we have is Sharpened Stake. So we're using this for the 2 charges on an Execute. You have the Stake Thrower, which I did play around with, but as much as the Stake Through the Heart can whiff sometimes and miss, the Stake Thrower just feels like it keeps you standing still for too long due to the 4 charges on it, so that's why I went for Stake Through the Heart instead. But next up, let's have a look at the synergies. We start off here then looking at the primary attributes for Blade and the synergies that cover them. So that would be Fighting and Strength, and that's covered by Ant-Man, War Machine and also Elektra. So you've got the 2 fighting now, which is great. The more generic synergies that can work good on them are Blade, Hawkeye, Hulk, She-Hulk and Squirrel Girl. And then finally the ones I'm going for that seem to work good with this build are Black Widow, because it's melee and ranged and we use a mix, and actually Moon Knight, because our health will generally be low before we use the signature, so this will give it a 10% buff as well, which works out pretty nice. Next up anyway, let's have a look at the infinity point allocation. For the infinity points, you really have two options you can choose here, so I'll show you the one I'm not using at the moment, but it can work well. It would be 100 points in either inner resilience or against all odds for health regen. That makes it a bit easier and it eases off on the bloodlust damage because you're regaining health back, and it means it can make it easier for you to actually choose to use your signature and serum at the optimum time. Now if you feel you don't need this, then what I like to use is a time gem and the temporal loophole, because this gives increased attack speed which benefits Whiplash, but it gives increased move speed, so when you're running around with Whiplash you'll run around faster, and it really makes the skill even more fun than it is normally. But next up we will check out the general gearing priority. For this section I'll just give a very brief overview of the gearing. Now the reason for that is I actually have a video I specifically done on how to gear Blade to make the most of his signature, so if you check out the description of this video there is a link to that there. If we do quickly look at the items that can work great, you've got the Ultimate Nullifier for the 6000 brutal damage rating. For the Catalyst you want health on hit, because this will help offset the health you actually lose from using Starving. You want that mystical bonus, as you can see it's pretty fantastic. When your health drops below 20%, which will be often, you become invisible for 15 seconds and it has a 15-second cooldown to match. For the Relic you would be wanting to use the Relic of Xandar for the range bonus, because that will buff your signature there. So the rest of the slots as mentioned are covered in a video that's linked in the description. So to the end of the video we have a run through of an operation, Hood's Hideout. We'll do a full bounty clear to show off that it can take out trash, and then at the end we will one-shot Hood as well. Now as always when I mention these videos, that as you can see I don't have them properly geared because I don't have the time to gear all these heroes that I do videos for, so I won't be doing it on cosmic difficulty. That's my disclaimer in there, but I hope this gameplay video is useful. If there's any questions or anything else, feel free to ask, and I'll see you all again soon.
Destroy everything they hold dear. Our numbers are endless. Leave me alone. Not on your life.
No more.